a video response to Sugar and Lance. Hi Justin. The death penalty. Do you know, if I think about it,
I don't ever recall having any thoughts about the death penalty, and if people have given the death penalty. At the end of the day, this is a personal choice, whether I believe in the death penalty or don't believe in the death penalty. Maybe, in undisputed cases of death penalty with DNA evidence, maybe there should be a death penalty. As you know, there is a few different ways for giving the death penalty. Whether this is with a lethal injection, whether this is with the electric chair, there could even be a gas chamber, hanging, shot. There's many ways to kill a person if they have committed the crime in the first place. As we all know, the prisons are full, brimming with prisoners who have created a community of violence, a community of threats. So, if the government was to use a very large region of land, I'm talking huge region of land, divide it up into sections. On each section, put a shovel, a pick, a wheelbarrow, some building materials, wood, nails, and in these sections, take the criminal to these sections. Whether they have murdered or whether they have just committed communal crimes, take them to the section, dump them there, and tell them, these are plants, these are vegetables, these are wheat. Grow them, eat. Without growing these products, you won't eat. Maybe this could be a better idea than taking a prisoner into a prison for 1 year, send them to the field. I'm not talking about hard labour, I'm talking about personal use of their minds. Okay, if you live in a city, you don't know how to, maybe, you don't know how to grow these, to grow sweet corn, to grow wheat. But if when they are taken to this place, they can be told that if you don't grow, you will die. But they will die by their own hand, not by an injection, not by hanging. Okay, hanging was abolished many, many years ago, but it was a preventive against crime. But if they are taken to these fields to fend for themselves, who knows? The guy in the next field, he has his own field and his own tools. Who's to say that this guy isn't going to go to the other guy and steal his food, take his shovel, steal his wheelbarrow? He will be left with nothing. But maybe he will know what it's like to be left with nothing after the destruction he's made in the place where he came from. With working in these fields, maybe they will get a little bit of self-accomplishment. And yet, if they were killed by lethal injection, they will be dead. If they were in a field, fending for themselves, learning something of self-worth, and the lawyers find evidence that they were innocent via DNA, via new people coming forward, then at least they'll be alive and able to go back to their original place. Now, if a person is working in this field, they're probably there for a good reason, even if they didn't kill somebody. But they probably are there for a good reason. Did any of you guys see a film from maybe 50 years ago, a very old film? It was called Lord of the Flies. Now, just a quick description, Lord of the Flies. There was a galleon, a boat that was sailing on the sea. It sank. It was full of children who were going from one place to another place via a ship. The children were swept ashore to an island with no adults. And they started to make different communities, but one of the gangs, one of the groups of children were more vicious than the other group, etc. Now, the film does depict how these children cope with death, with violence from other children. Now, if you were to send all these people to a place like what I described in the field, maybe, although they're not children, they're adults, maybe this will happen in the areas I'm describing. Also, another film I want to mention, Escape from New York. Now, you know, the madness that was going on in this film. They were trying to take the president whose plane had crashed in New York, but New York was an enclosed prison, impossible to get out of. But maybe, who knows, maybe that's what it will end up like. Who knows, maybe something as simple as legalising drugs, all those A, B and C drugs. Maybe if they were legalised and the governments were getting tax money from this, but the government was legally growing it, importing it, or growing it within the United States, within the UK, and they were selling this at special shops or pharmacies. If they were able to do this at a lower price than it's being sold on the streets, who knows, maybe this could bring crime down. Maybe this could bring crime up. An experiment would have to be made to try this.
let's turn the tables just a
little bit. You have a child. You have a mother. Whoever. Somebody enters your child or mother's life and beats them. Somebody beats your child. Somebody murders your mother. You would want revenge, I'm sure. You only have to look at YouTube to see what people are doing after the fact. You know, I saw yesterday, there was a court case, a man had killed somebody's children, or killed it with her husband, I think, and the brothers of this guy entered the courtroom and they tried to beat this guy in the courtroom. It's revenge. People do take revenge. If you take revenge, you might end up killing this person, not stopping, continuing to beat this person, stab them or shoot them. Then you would be facing the death penalty. Picture in your mind, you're sat in a cold cell, waiting to die. I wouldn't want to die. I would not want to die. But maybe I would want revenge. Okay, let's say that the constitution and the laws were changed. This would leave it up to the biggest criminals, the lawyers, the advocates. It would leave them with new hope to lie. So if somebody's a real murderer, they would have new ways to lie about their innocence. Come on, I know there's 12 people who are judging, but they're just listening to someone who is a professional liar. You could be the person sat in that seat. So I ask myself,
do I agree on the death penalty? At this point, I don't know if I do agree.
maybe, with undisputed evidence, that person murdered another person. They have the death penalty. Why not take them to the room where they will get their injection, but put them to sleep? When they are sleeping, take them into the back of a van, drive them to the hills, I don't know, somewhere in the middle of nowhere where it would take days to walk back. Leave them there, with the tools that I explained, leave them there, and when they wake up, they thought they were dead. Who knows, maybe they will turn their life around. If somebody on death row was taken to that field I've described, the amount of money it costs to keep them in the prison would be vast. Take them to that field. But if the government was able to use that money to invest into the community of maybe of the same place where this person on death row is, to invest it into that community, invest that money into the schools. At the end of the day, we have to pay taxes. The tax we pay goes to the bank. The banks are personally owned by a very few people. You know who they are, Rothschild. The government takes loans from these people to pay for all the running of the country. They could still take this money. We would still pay the tax. The money would still go to the bank. The money would still be given as credit to the government. The vicious circle will not end. But if this investment could be made into something more productive than keeping somebody in a small room, then maybe I'm against the lethal injection. Maybe I'm against the electric chair. And maybe I'm all for ploughing in a field. Justin, I want to say something. It's possible this argument of the death penalty will last for many, many years. We don't really have much control on whether there will be or won't be. There are people positioned in the government who think they know better than us. It will continue. But until they come up with a good plan to stop all of the murders and crimes in this world, we will just have to live with the crimes if we're lucky enough not to be murdered. This is Palmolive Soap, reporting from Bulgaria in the sunshine. Have a nice day.